Back from Once Upon a Time. This is episode 3 of season 5. Very excited to carry on, see what's going to happen next with this season. Very interesting start with the whole memory loss thing that's going on. And we have in the current day storybook, Emma is the Dark One, seemingly betrayed by all these people, and we're going to see the events play out that leads to that moment where she does kind of succumb to the darkness, which I'm looking forward to. She also has Excalibur with her in present day, wants to do some stuff with that, make the sword hold again. And yeah, lots of interesting stuff with that. And I'm excited to see how they're going to kind of explore a bit more with this story arc and where they're going to take all these different things. So yeah, very excited for more. So let's just get right into the next episode.
I know Dopey's a tree, but we gotta be more productive since he can't.
He's producing oxygen.
Hey, let's stay focused.
Wow.
I'm happy there's something I learned as the Dark One. If your name is on something, hold on to it.
Not going to be very happy about that.
You guys sure you don't want me to just wiggle my nose and get him out of that tree?
No. Your magic is dark now.
Wiggle my nose.
It's not worth it.
I understood that
Keep
reference.
pretending to be
Mushroom.
toadstool, actually.
Hopefully not a magic mushroom, eh?
Extremely useful.
Almost certainly fiction.
People say the same thing about us. How far?
A half day's run.
And about literally
But if it
every
is there,
object
it'll be
in this
protected by
show.
magical force.
It's a chance. I'm taking it.
I was going to say he looked like he was a bit out of place.
Majesty.
We know she's your daughter, but you gotta do something, because if you won't, we will.
Do not hurt her.
What are you going to do? You're already like 2
But that's
down.
all that matters.
David!
Just wish you talked to us.
What did the chair do?
There's nothing I can do for her, for you, for anyone.
You are doing something. You are helping our people the
Well, it
best
feels
you
a
can.
bit useless here, and in the flashback he was a bit like, guess I'll hold the baby.
Our reliquary's been robbed.
I'm sorry, you're what?
Magical relics collected by the Knights of the Round Table. They're all very precious. There was a magic being inside. This being can take my people home in an instant.
So why don't you stop messing around and go get the hero we need? Oh, and you and I both know who that is.
Oh dear.
You can't take that child away from Robin.
How can you blame me?
Yeah.
You got a second chance, why can't I? Oh, I'm sorry. But you've had a second chance. And a second chance.
She hasn't had a redemption arc though.
Selfish. I will make sure your baby is fine. And loved. And safe. Just as I promised. The same will certainly not hold for you.
Oh boy. Well,
The siege Perilous. Reserved for the knight with the purest heart. The one destined to carry out the most sacred quests. Belonged to a man I trusted more than a brother. But he betrayed me. It's been vacant since.
That's what. Marrying Margaret and I, we met him.
You did? How is he?
dead.
This is our reliquary. Containing sacred and magical items our knights have recovered.
I expected it to be bigger, I won't lie.
So, you're the one who found this broken into? Any theories?
Me? Oh, well,
It was him!
everyone speaks of the Dark One in this place.
Whoever smelt it, doubt it, right?
I know that look. Button on the top turns it on.
I know how to use a phone.
It's a picture from up inside Zelena.
Well, mate. No, it's the baby. They call it a sonogram.
I don't want to have to misconstrue my happiness for, well,
You got yourself a complex situation there, that's for sure.
unlike your simple love life.
Huh.
Yeah.
About that.
You already look evil, you don't need to be creepy.
Better?
Wow.
You know you can trust me.
I mean, we don't, but in that dress I will trust you. I'm sure this will be easy and simple.
It'll never take both of us. I'll go.
Just want Shrek to appear now. What are you doing in my swamp?
How's he doing?
Oh.
Well, I need an object that touched him when he was still a man, before he became the Dark One.
Well, you must have something.
Yeah, well, nothing I can find. There's still more to look through.
Dig up Neil's body.
Get you some help.
No.
Maybe that's a bit morbid.
No, it's just a souvenir from Doc's birthday party. It says Doctoberfest on it.
Well, where?
Oh my god.
Don't worry. Chalice will tell me which among you is the thief. So line up for your chance to drink from the sacred cup.
That is the guy, right? Wow. Suddenly it's turned to Fast and Furious. Should be able to catch up to him fairly easily. He's only got 1 horsepower. Ah. Wow. Very elaborate plan, but it paid off. Oh no. Run! Quick! How does that stop them? They literally don't have a head. Well, that's just cheating.
You did it. Well done.
Oh, well, it could take both of them after all.
I'm different. I'm better.
As the Dark One. Are you really suggesting that we move forward in a real relationship?
Gold and Belle loved each other.
I don't think you should use the crocodile as your example.
Yeah, that's fair.
I took this cutlass and put it to his head and taunted him.
If you tell me you don't love me, I will let you go.
Well, that's a bit mean, isn't it?
I loved you.
The ship's yours.
Well, that went well.
I don't want to only be remembered as the man who kissed a sleeping princess awake 30 years ago.
I understand. That is the losses that require us to be brave. So if anything will make us heroes.
It's the never giving up.
I like this. They talk about being legends and fairy tales and stuff, and they're defined by these like little moments, and they want to be more than that.
Well,
I have a place for a man like you.
Yeah, a couple of empty seats at that table. I was joking when I said it was him, by the way.
I didn't see a beam, Your Majesty.
It was already gone before this, then. Well,
Must have
yeah.
fallen out when we entered his bag.
I recognized this.
There's not much room for error in like not recognizing it.
You did it.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys.
Take your place.
And how are they planning on continuing with this once he went back to Storybrooke? Yeah, thought you'd get that chair.
Not bad for a shepherd, eh?
Some of these hats in the background, I'm like, that's a choice. I hope it's comfy, because you wouldn't want to speak up, would you? Can't be a hero with a bad back.
Someone there?
Hmm?
Lancelot.
Oh!
You were dead.
That is a long story. But trust your eyes, it is me. There's another villain.
Oh.
Arthur.
What?
Trust me. No, Camelot is not what it seems.
Oh.
You lied to him. To David.
You snake!
They brought me no pleasure.
Arthur?
Please let me out now.
Arthur, fuck's sake.
That's why we must build a new Camelot. Here,
Oh
in
no.
Storybrooke.
Well.
You told me you always dreamed of sitting at the round table one day. Well, now I am offering you something greater. A chance to die in the service of Camelot.
Oh, you lucky
Your
bastard.
death will be the cornerstone of a great new kingdom.
You moron. I mean, I get why he wants to protect his kingdom, but come on. Protecting his kingdom by killing his own people is a bit contradictory.
Is it supposed to do that? What? He's waking up.
Oh! No, the sandwich! Is he under there?
You know, he doesn't look too good.
Ah. Hello.
You are not dark, you are also not light. You are nothing. Your
Mood.
heart is a blank slate. I can make you into the last thing you ever thought you would be. A hero. And not just any hero.
So he can pull the
Purest
sword.
who's ever lived. And then I have a job for you.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, another really good episode. I like that one a lot. It's cool to kind of get a lot of focus on David and him feeling a bit, in both timelines, a bit useless, a bit left out of things. He's like, you know, what can I contribute here? And I actually really liked the idea of what they did with him, and a bit with Arthur. It's kind of relating to that as well. You know, saying, you know, I don't want to be remembered for this one thing 30 years ago, this one aspect of this story. And then that's kind of it. You know, if that's what I'm going to be known for the rest of my life, something that happened 30 years ago, what's kind of the point of going about the rest of my days and just feeling like, well, I'm never going to be better than I was then, you know, never striving to anything more, not being remembered for your own merits in other things. So I really liked that idea. I thought it was really interesting that they did that, especially because I think David has been in the background quite a lot, particularly, you know, for most of last season outside of the whole Maleficent kind of thing. For the most part, I think in season 4, he was kind of a background character, really. So the fact that he had an episode to himself again was really cool. And that was a really interesting idea that I would be keen to see them maybe explore a bit more, not just with him, but with other characters. But it was interesting to have them use that with him, then link him to Arthur in many different ways. And that was clearly just setting up for the potential betrayal of Arthur, and that he's kind of shady. And, you know, we saw Lancelot pop up as well in that flashback, so it seemed he's actually still alive after all, which is another interesting twist. I feel like when they had Lancelot in the show originally, they didn't know they were going to be doing a whole Camelot arc, which is fair enough, because that'd be a lot of seasons ahead they were planning. But when they got to this, we're like, oh, we kind of need Lancelot for it if we're going to do Camelot, surely. So I guess that's why they brought him back into it. And exactly why Arthur may be perceived to be such a villain, especially in the, you know, the flashback period, not just now when he's trying to protect and rebuild Camelot elsewhere, and he's doing kind of sneaky, shady things because of that. Even back then, you know, he was doing stuff and lying to David about the mushroomy thing, toadstool thing, about having that. And exactly why he lied about it, I don't know. And maybe he just doesn't want any more magic being used. Maybe they don't actually want them to contact Merlin for some reason. Maybe he put Merlin in the tree, which would be another interesting twist. But I like that we don't really know what to expect from that whole arc, and Arthur and everyone, and, you know, making King Arthur, you know, noble King Arthur, you know, head of the Round Table, kind of like a more villainous, shady role. I think it's an interesting take. So I am intrigued to learn a bit more about that and exactly where they're going with it. And in some respect, I can understand his methods back in the storybook about, you know, or even in the flashbacks, he can't trust these people with magic and stuff like that. And he, you know, they've lost their homes and they need to rebuild. I kind of understood some of his motivations there, but he's like trying to protect his kingdom and his people by killing a member of his own kingdom and not striking out at the supposed enemy he's come up with in his head. So that's a bit hypocritical and a bit not great. So yeah, I'm really fascinated to see where that's going to go and what the end goal is with that whole arc, and exactly why he's doing all of this, and, you know, when that turn happened, when he turned into a bit more of a shady character in the scene. So I'm excited for a bit more of that, but I like the focus on David and what they did with him, and him becoming then the Knight of the Round Table to be something more, do something else with his life and be remembered for more than just something from a long time ago. very interesting. And that Squire guy, I think his name's Griff, like his unwavering loyalty made him look like a bit of an idiot, to be honest. But the fact that just a Squire has such dedication to this whole cause about saving Camelot and everything, I think it just shows what the people of Camelot are really like about their home and their legacy. And of course, Arthur is going to be really determined to protect that and hold on to that. So if that random Squire guy is willing to, you know, steal this stuff because Arthur said so and die for this as well, for something they may not have ever gone and found out for, what on earth is Arthur going to be really capable of doing himself? So I like this a lot, and I'm intrigued by all of that. And we had Belle had a few decent moments, both in the flashbacks helping out, and then seeing that Mr. Gold is awake now, and the idea of him being like this blank slate, so he's not good or evil yet, so Emma can kind of shape him to be a hero, to remove the sword and the stone and everything. Another really interesting idea, and another way of bringing Mr. Gold and that whole character, kind of making him other kind of characters and beings in other stories. You know, we've seen him be like a fairy godmother to Cinderella. We've seen him be like the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. So to do this with him again, but more so potentially as a hero now, is interesting. And I feel like they really had explored so much of Mr. Gold being a villain. I feel like there's not much more they could have done with that. The fact that he may be being forced into being a hero now is quite fascinating, and him, once being the former Dark One, is now faced with the current one. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. And everything with that was cool. Mary Margaret had a few nice moments when she was kind of encouraging David and saying, you know, this isn't your fault. Emma made this choice and everything. That was cool. Regina and Zelena, their little conversation about Zelena having, you know, she's had a second chance. She's had a second chance, and talking about what to do with the baby. Is it going to be protected? Is Zelena going to be protected? And that kind of rivalry between them I still quite enjoy. And Zelena does often paint herself as a victim. And while she did come from a very troubled upbringing, and I kind of feel bad for her in that sense, she didn't get the best start in life. She was set down on a bad path in the first place, but it doesn't mean you have to continue following that path, and she is making that choice. So I can't feel too bad, because, you know, still the whole consent thing with her and Robin having a baby is kind of gross and disgusting. So yeah, a bit more of that. I feel like there's going to be a big episode maybe all about that, and like a Zelena-centric one soon enough, because I feel like we do need a bit more of that, because there hasn't been a great deal of focus on Zelena, oddly, since they brought her back, which I've always found a bit bizarre. So I feel like the time will come for that at some point. But it was cool to see them kind of bickering, and the ongoing mystery tying all this together of like those missing 6 weeks, what went down, and how Regina writing that question mark down in the book with the toadstool, then they could work out, oh god, we were using this, you know, we were going to try and contact them with this in the past, and there's a connection there, and then the connections between David's different timelines, and in both of them he felt a bit useless and left out. In both of them he kind of teamed up with Arthur on a quest, and in both times Arthur lied to him about, you know, exactly how it all played out, because he actually took the toadstool in the past, for whatever reasons that is, and in this one he was actually telling the Squire guy to steal all of this stuff and kind of set it all up in that way. So yeah, that was really interesting, and I am intrigued to see if they continue to relate those characters together, and how much of an impact it would be now, how much things may change if David is like a Knight of the Round Table in terms of long-term kind of effects. How would that play out, especially if Lancelot continues to go down a very shady, not Lancelot, Arthur goes down a continuously shady path, you know. Could David have to be step up and like lead Camelot or something? That would be an interesting thing. So yeah, we'll see what happens with all of that. And I really liked Emma as the Dark One in this one, like trying to transform herself and look a bit more like she used to be to appeal to Hook, and the fact that she was kind of after, you know, not an object of gold's, to bring him back from his little coma, and all of that. Hook kind of, he knows Emma so well at this point. He saw that she isn't the Emma she used to be, just about, even though she was trying to convince him of that, which I really like, her kind of changing the dress and setting up the the meal and everything. he knew she was different, and he knew he was just there because she wanted something, and that's how intrinsically well he knows her. So I liked everything with that. And, you know, I think he loves her, and at least he loved how Emma used to be enough to say, I loved her, I don't love who this is now, because this isn't Emma Swan. He still loves Emma, but Emma's not here right now. Him kind of standing up to her in that sense is really interesting. And I imagine that's difficult for her because she feels like she's changed for the better, so she doesn't see it as like a step backwards, whereas Hook does. So she's willing to move forward in a relationship, but he's not. He's like, no, you're not who you used to be. So she still kind of has these feelings for him, but she also needs to use him for stuff. So that's a really interesting negotiation that she has to make as well, that I found quite fascinating. So that was all cool. I really liked the pairing of Robin and Hook in this episode as well. I think they could be like really good friends. I'd like to see a lot more of that kind of expanded. They just seem to generally get along very well, and I like that. Is there always a pirate, always a thief? They kind of have their pasts defining them as well, much like the whole David thing, which was an interesting kind of flow throughout the entire episode, kind of keeping it all together. And I can understand why Robin is still happy to have a child coming into the world, because he's still going to be a dad, but there's a whole complicated situation about that, and Robin even joked that those two, their love lives were both very complicated as well, so there's another link between those two characters. Once Upon a Time does have a good time of putting these seemingly random characters together and actually forming a really nice bond, and a lot of the time they just abandon them again and we don't really see much more of it and much more development of it. You know, I think Leroy and Belle's a big standout for me in terms of that, but I like to think they continue to run with this for sure. So I like the Robin and Hook stuff and their scenes together a lot. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this episode actually, like kind of looking at all my notes and stuff. There's loads of different stories being juggled, but I think they did a very good job balancing them. They knew which ones needed more screen time, they knew which ones didn't really. And yeah, I love the idea of what they did with David's arc in particular in this one. Very interesting kind of way of exploring a character who was part of this big fairy tale and is now no longer. You know, what does he do after the fairy tale's over? And that ending as well with Mr. Gold waking up and being like this blank slate for Emma to use as she pleases. Really interesting ideas there. So yeah, overall, another really great episode. Love the David stuff. Very intrigued by the Arthur thing. Liked the Emma and Hook pairing. I liked the Hook and Robin scenes. And yeah, very well balanced, I think, in terms of all the stories going on in this episode. It could have easily fallen apart and collapsed over how much, you know, how many different stories there were at play here. But I think that, you know, they judged it very well, and we got some good kind of twists and turns with Arthur and Mr. Gold at the end. So yeah, very good episode. Very excited to see where they're going to take all this in future. And yeah, until my next reaction, thanks for watching.